Pittman. What's going on?
Oh man, things are good.
Everything good, man. I catch you at a good time.
Yeah, this is a good time.
Man, I know I sent you something, man, early today, and it's been confirmed that Naoya Inoue and Stephen Fulton are gonna get it on May 7th. Man. How you feel about that?
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. This is one of the fights that fight fans should be happy to see and should be in anticipation to watch this fight and watch it in real time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to remind you the night before because they're saying the 7th, so I'm thinking this might be something like how the Paul Butler fight was. Because they saying the 7th, which is a Sunday, so I don't know as far as time wise, but when it get closer to it, we'll just make sure, we'll just lock in to make sure that you know that it's gonna be early in the morning. Because I got to catch it because when I caught that Paul Butler, it was like I normally get up at like 4 something, so I was able to actually see it on my way to work. Like I think when I first got to work or before work started, I was able to get up early and watch it. But we'll just keep an eye on it because I don't know as far as the time difference and it being over there exactly what time it's gonna be. But we'll keep an eye on that. My question is this: one of our I guess somebody that commented on the page, they were listening to one of the conversations we had about Fulton and Inoue, and they said that Inoue walks around at 136 pounds. And I was thinking, that might go to my point. My comment was, well, that might go to my point to where he was cutting a lot more to be lower. Now he doesn't have to cut as much, which to me says that he might be even more powerful or more comfortable. So I just wanted to throw that in there because, the topic of discussion is with Stephen Fulton coming out in a recent interview saying that he's going to outclass Inoue. So between us knowing or us believing, we're going to go with what our commenter said, that Naoya walks around every day, his everyday weight is 136 pounds, and Stephen Fulton saying that he's going to outclass Naoya. What do you have to say about that?
Well, to hear that he walks around 136 and fights at 118, that kind of seems a little odd for a fighter that's in shape. Okay, now that's a lot of extra weight to be carrying. So I don't know if that is true and where he got those sources from. But, to me, I'm not going to dismiss it and say it's not true, but it sounds a little odd for a 118 pounder to be walking around with that kind of weight. I could see if it was maybe 10 pounds more, but that just seems a little odd, and especially when you dealing with Asians, because typically the Asian diet isn't that type of a diet, especially for a professional athlete, that causes you to put on that kind of weight. They usually stay within a certain weight size, but I don't know where he got his sources from, but if that is true, then the extra weight for Inoue going to 122 shouldn't be a problem, and it shouldn't make him weak.
Well, this is what I was thinking though. I was thinking that, okay, to my understanding, all right, when I compare Gary Antoine Russell, he says that he pretty much walk around right around his fight weight. Just like now Jermell Charlo, he pretty much walks around about his fight weight. So I think Gary Antoine say that he's not more than like, I think maybe 5 pounds off, I think, you know, but that's not typical. I mean, we've seen Tank, he's gotten a little bit better over the years, but if you were to go back in history, you'd be like, dang, like if somebody did a timestamp and they looked at Tank, you know, 2-3 years ago, and now it's like, dang, well, what happened? Because the weight in between fights, you would think it would look a lot different. But to my, like, what I was actually seeing is that most boxers is 20 pounds. Most boxers is like 20 pounds off. They walk around about 20 pounds off. Some that get out of whack, like how Earl was doing in between fights before he had his accident and got his, his wake up moments, and he got back in the groove. So to me, it's not far-fetched to hear a fighter being 20 pounds. Most people don't stay right around there. The ones that's in tip-top shape, that's, like the Jamel Charlo, the Gary Antoine, and why they're so dominant, they're within 5, no more than 10. But the average fighter, it's not too far-fetched to know that they're actually walking around 20 pounds heavier. So, but I think you did bring up a good point as far as Asian and like how, like, their stature and what it, how they are. So I was just thinking that, look, if he do walk around at 136 and he was cutting down to 118 or 115, him only cutting down to 122, it still spells danger because he's not having to cut as much. So to me, it's an advantage, I think. You know what I'm saying? But aside from that, what do you think about Stephen Fulton thinking that, he's going to outclass Naoya?
Well, he's supposed to think that because that's the type of fighting style that he had. He's not a puncher, and his knockout ratio shows that he does not have the heavy punching power because it's not reflected on his knockout percentage. So the key to victory for him is to outbox his opponent. Mm-hmm. That's what I expect him to go in, and that to be his game plan. And what he has to do, and especially because he's the champion, he has to initiate the action. He has to be able to outbox Inoue. He has to be able to keep the distance and to outpoint him. That's what he's gonna have to do for his key to victory. Because if he does not knock Inoue out, then he's gonna have to control the entire fight. I don't mean just control certain rounds and win certain rounds. He's gonna have to be aggressive enough so that those that are judging the fight, knowing that he's a champion, that it does not appear that he's only trying to survive. Because if it has to go to the scorecard, if he does not fight the type of fight that he's saying he's gonna fight, then it may not be favorable for him on the fight card. So everything that he's saying, I would say, is the key for him to be victorious. That is his key to victory, to do exactly what he's saying. Because if he's not able to do that, I don't understand how he believes he can win this fight.
Yeah, you're right. I would side with you in saying that is the correct mindset. Now, it's a saying, especially with the young people now. It's just like you gotta walk it how you talk it. It's one of them things where that might be easier said than done. We're talking about you have to be able to dictate the pace, because a lot of times when somebody's coming forward and you're on the back foot, the perception is, unless you're accustomed to actually fighting on the back foot and you're highly effective, is that whoever's coming forward and bringing the fight to you is the aggressor. So they're winning in ring generalship. We already know that in a way. We're saying that he's the more explosive puncher. Like if there was a knockout artist, you know, that would be Naoya. But I don't look at him as a knockout artist. I look at him as an all-around boxer. I look at him as you don't see him with a lot of wasted punches. He's very accurate, and he can get it done with both hands, upstairs and downstairs, with exceptional body work. And I don't see that. I don't really see Fulton. I see Fulton, even in the example of Figueroa. When you're saying you're gonna outclass, I didn't really see him necessarily outclass Figueroa. I think he was more intelligent than Figueroa at times. I think he got lured into a dogfight to the point to where he kind of got hurt in that fight. And I'm like, well, Figueroa can lure you into a fight like that before you snapped out of it and then got on your bicycle and then used your jab, you know what I'm saying, and was effective in being elusive. I think he can get lured into it, and in the heat of the moment, when you're taking in, you know, when that ship is taking in water, and Naoya is putting water in the basement, you're gonna engage. Because Figueroa, I don't see his IQ being as high as Inoue's, and I think that him thinking, oh man, him saying, oh man, it's just the power. It's not. That's a misconception. I wish he would. I'm not gonna say I wish he would stop saying it, but Naoya Inoue is more than just power. And I think that by him saying that, it's going back to what I was saying originally when I assessed this fight, that he's underestimating him, because he's thinking that Naoya is just power. It's like, you're totally wrong. It's not just power. It's the IQ to be able to use that power. Because if you can knock out the knockout artist, and you can knock out or stop the boxer, it has to be more than just power. You have to know how to do it. You have to dismantle your opponent. You have to be able to take away what they do best, but still impose your will. And so far, we still have people questioning, because I've heard things. I've even heard somebody put out a video today talking about, because they had Naoya and Caleb Plant both up there. Both of the guys I actually have winning in the fight because of boxing IQ, ironically. They're saying that both of those hype jobs are going to get exposed. And I said, see, and when it came to a Naoya Inoue, they said that him moving up, they're questioning whether that power is going to be able to carry. I'm like, there's nothing signaling that it won't carry because of IQ. It's not like he's overwhelming you just coming forward with aggressive volume punching. No, he's tactically picking you apart, going upstairs, downstairs, being highly effective and accurate in his punches, because he don't do a lot of wasted movement. And I think that the statements that Fulton said, yes, as far as outclassing him, he has to be able to do it. He has to be able to walk it how he talk it. But reducing Naoya Inoue down to just being power, and the fact that he also said, this is the other thing he said, yeah, a lot of people are really just, what did he say? I don't want to misquote him, but he basically was saying that a lot of people are pretty much being overzealous about Inoue because he's a foreign fighter, like because he's coming from Japan, and I guess the mystique of him coming from over there. I said, no, those are people that, like you said before when we had our earlier conversations, those are people that did not sit down and go back and look at film of Inoue and actually see what he's able to do to opponents, and what his opponents were able to do to other people, and make an assessment.
I agree totally, 100%. And for those people that believe that Naoya Inoue is only a puncher, what you have to do is watch his career and notice that the fighters that he stopped, in many cases, he beats those fighters into submission and then finally lowers the boom.
Right.
But there are times in some of his fights where he have just hit people with punches and they are just so disoriented And once they get up, you could see the ending is about to come. So Naoya has shown he's the complete fighter. And even in his fights that do go the distance, you will see that every fight that he has been in that has gone the distance, he has won by unanimous decision. So that's an indication that these fights weren't that close. And he was dominant as a boxer to be able to get the unanimous decision at fights that go the distance. So that I don't see any weakness in his ability to fight as a boxer or a puncher. He is one of those individuals that seems to possess it all within his weight class. He seems to have it all. Punching, boxing, knockout ratio, whatever you want to see in a fighter, he demonstrates it. And he's also demonstrated that from moving up from 100 to 8, and as he moved up and up through 3 weight classes, he has not lost any punching power. He is doing to his opponents what he has always done.
Right.
And as far as moving up to 122, 5 more pounds, there's no indication to me that he's going to move up and then all of a sudden he's not going to be able to hurt opponents. He is that good of a fighter. I feel that his punching power will be a factor. It has always been a factor in his fights.
Yeah, we know he can crack. And they say that's the last thing to leave. So, and naturally, if you look at it, they say that's the last thing to leave. And as people get older, they tend to gain more weight because of bone density, and then just naturally not having a high metabolism and things like that. As you get older, you're gonna be a little bit heavier. But they say the punching power is the last thing to leave. But what's being overlooked is that one of his biggest things is his ability to adjust, his ability to make adjustments. It's not like, oh, okay, he just go out there and just everything works like right off the rip. Like, no, it's like, okay, he studies and he watches and he makes adjustment over time, and he works to get the stoppage or the knockout. It's not something that just like, boom, like as soon as he come in, it's like boom, like, it just happens. So I think that it's one of them things to where they're underestimating his IQ. And the other thing is the fact that what can I say? They said that they've been saying, and I'm only repeating or regurgitating things that I've heard from several different sources, and it's almost like an echo chamber or whatever. They basically was saying that Nonito was washed. He's washed and he's old, and this ain't the same. I'm like, well, okay, we don't keep the same energy, because a lot of people, when it comes to like the Devin and Lomachenko, they don't use those same talking points. So it's like, man, that's a mute talking point, because if you put Nonito Donaire in the ring with somebody right now, today, that don't deserve to be in there, he's going to stop them.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't. If you a live dog, and if you not, what I'm saying, if you still boxing and you got all your faculties and you still have that power and that IQ, and you're still able to make fights and be in fights and it's still competitive, we can't use that excuse that Nonito Donaire was washed. And I hate that we do that. I hate that we tend to do that because we have favoritism and things like that. It's like, no, if we're gonna say that Nonito Donaire is a walking Hall of Famer, and we seen that he was able to break a bone in Naoya's face, and not only did he go on to finish that fight, but he came back and devastatingly stopped him, meaning he made an adjustment to show, hey, all right, I'm being presented with this same test, and I'm not going to take as long this time, but I'm going to master this test right now. We have to give the man the credit. This is one of the things where it don't have anything to do with you being from overseas, or what your skin color is, or how long your hair is, or that you speak a different language. These are the ones and twos. This is archaic and going back to, how we solve problems since the beginning of time when we had, misunderstandings with the fists. You know what I'm saying? So to me, and hearing a lot of different people, it's a lot of favoritism, and I think that I hope Stephen Fulton hears this conversation, and I hope that he reshoots his azimuth and he rethinks about all these things that are being said, and don't read these newspaper clippings, because everybody over here is basically saying, oh man, this man's a hype job, he's nothing but power. It's just because they don't know nothing about him and they enamored him coming from Japan. It's like, no, you need to go back and study this dude, go back and study this guy, and actually look at how he's able to make adjustments. Look at how he cuts off the ring. Look at the fact that he actually has a chin, and you're not a power puncher. So you trying to elude and being evasive, you still have to score while you're eluding. You have to score. Like, you have to outscore your opponent while evading and taming, this guy he's not going to be on the back foot waiting and allowing you to come in and things like that. That's not his style. So
you're gonna have to fight against him,
right?
Or it's gonna appear that you're running from him.
Exactly. So you're gonna have to. So you're not just performing, you're not just entertaining. So and I don't expect Fulton to do that. Don't worry about the crowd. What you have to do is you have to be effective in actually scoring, but then you also have to be conscious of your level of defense. And we're talking about two different things. We're talking about, outpointing, landing, making your opponent miss, being defensively aware, but winning these rounds because you got ring generalship, effective aggression. I mean, when you decide to be aggressive, you're not just, swinging and missing. It's like, no, when you decide to be aggressive, you being effective. Your defense. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, all of these things, you have to consider that all of these parameters, this is what the judges are looking at. This is not an easy task, and I hope that Fulton really listen, man, and say, I'm not saying that he don't have a shot. I'm just saying that the conversation surrounding, and if you read these newspaper clippings, man, you going in like, you going in sounding like you're not prepared for the task at hand because you're underestimating your opponent. And the first thing is to know yourself, know thyself, but you also have to know thy enemy. So I hope that he's studying, man, and he's not taking this like, oh man, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna school this guy, and you know what I'm saying. I hope that's just really just to make people understand that he's not scared of the challenge, and I salute him. You know what I'm saying? He's done a big thing. I just, I'm excited about this fight. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm excited about this fight, man. This is what's right with boxing, in my opinion, And I respect them both. I just want to see a good fight, and hopefully, we might be able to get 2 or 3, depending on how it goes, because I would think that, shoot, if it do go the way I see it going, and Stephen Fulton is going to enact a rematch or something, you know what I'm saying? They have to show and prove, all right, do it again. This time come over here and show that you can do it, and then, maybe, especially if it's in Philly, we got to go to that. If it's anywhere over here in New York, Philly, anywhere on the East Coast, we would have to be in a building on that one.
Well, I'm going to tell you that Fulton, based on what he's saying, he has to believe everything he's saying, because if you don't go into a fight confident and you go in there bewildered, then as soon as something doesn't go to game plan, you can begin to start to wilter in a fight. Now, strange as it sounds, maybe Fulton taking this fight and going to Japan, this could be self-motivating for him as an indicator of how important it is to stay focused. And because he's going to Japan and fight, he knows he's got to stay focused. He's got to be at the top of his game. So this could be a catalyst for him to go in and fight the fight of his life, because he know he has to. So I'm not going to say him going to Japan is a bad thing. It could be that motivating factor that he needs to push him over the hump, so that he does not get too comfortable and realize the task at hand, and that he's going to have to really be convincing.
Yeah.
So I don't think that him going to Japan is something that he feel is going to hurt him. I think he feels it's going to benefit him, because it's going to keep him focused.
As long as he don't pull a Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? That's what Mike Tyson was when he decided to have his orgy before the night before the fight and stuff. So as long as he go over there and he stay focused, you know what I'm saying? He know where he at, and he really he really focused. I'm thinking about now, because we talking about 8 weeks. It's March. It's right at the beginning of May. So he got to be getting ready to go over there pretty soon, in the next 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks. I'm thinking. I mean, anything else? I mean, because of the time difference, being acclimatized. I think it's like we said before. It's like an hour for every. It's an hour for every. A day for every hour time difference. So that's what it's supposed to be. But he is an ultimate. He is the champion. I want to see the best fight. So I want to see the best Fulton. So I want to be the one. I want to be that little. The little devil on the left shoulder when everybody telling you, oh man, you got this and you just gonna do this. I want to be the one saying, oh man, like, hit that bag a little bit more, like run another mile. You know what I'm saying, dude? Because I want to see the best. And if he can put something on film and stop, and actually win and actually get a decision over anyway, because I think we talked about this yesterday. When he beat Figueroa, that was not a unanimous decision.
Right.
So, that's the body work. I be saying stuff that it don't sound good, it ain't pretty, they're not always glowing praises, but it was not unanimous. So, this is a different monster. Yes, he is moving up, but it is a different monster. And we just gotta wait and see, man. But I wanted to call and and chop it up with you about it, because as soon as I seen the news, it was kind of early, but I said, man, he probably up, so I sent it to you, So I just wanted to call and get your take on it and chop it up. But I'm excited. I know you excited about it.
Another thing too, because a fighter is in a weight class lower than yours, okay? That doesn't make you a better fighter than he is, okay? It only means that you are fighting in a class above him.
Mm-hmm.
Because even as Fulton move up, it doesn't necessarily make him a better fighter. He's still the same fighter. And you carry those same attributes with you when you go to another weight class. Fighter in a weight class higher than yours does not make him a more superior fighter than you are. He's just fighting in a weight class above you. Maybe he might get hit a little harder than what you previously get hit in your weight class, but it does not make him a better fighter. And when you get in there with that fighter, you will see who is the best fighter, because for some people, it is not a given that because you move up in weight class that you're going to be knocked out by a bigger fighter. That's not necessarily the case, because everybody that's in a weight class above you is not a puncher.
Right.
And their record shows that they don't have a high percentage, a knockout percentage. So because they're in a class higher than you, doesn't make them a better fighter than you. They only just fighting in a class higher than yours.
And in these lower weight classes, that like, you know, yeah, it's a matter of pounds, but the length, the height, and the reach, it's not that far off. Like it's not like when you go like from 160 to 168, where you might have somebody with like a 77 arm inch reach, and then somebody with like a 70, where it's just gonna be like you got a whole 7-inch reach. It's not. The differences are not typically, they're not that big of a difference. It's just okay if you're conditioned
with smaller guys, yeah,
right,
with the smaller people,
right, with the smaller people. You don't see those frequently. Like you don't typically see nobody that's 6 foot fighting somebody that's 5'4", and then somebody that got like a, you know, like a 73-inch arm reach, and the other person got like a 65. You don't see that, so you can't really bank on some of those things and those advantages. You're right. So, you know, it's just a lot, and I think the boxing world is excited about it. I think some people don't know how to talk about it other than being sensational about it. But, you know, I don't sleep on Fulton and what he brings to the table. You know, I'm just not going to allow the public and the people who actually hear us talk about it to know that we don't, you know, turn over every stone and exhaust, you know, every aspect of the fight, thinking that Inoue is just, you know, some hype job. I'm thinking, man, YDK AB, you know what I'm saying? You might YDK SAB, man. You might not know about boxing if you're gonna say that man is a hype job. You know, we'll save Caleb Plant for another time, you know, in another discussion. But I just wanted to revisit this one, man. You had anything else about Naoya and Fulton?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this: those that's in the boxing world, okay, and the boxing sanctioning bodies, okay, they all know that Inoue is a special fighter, because I don't care what pound for pound list you get, you're gonna find Naoya Inoue's name in that pound for pound list. Now, whether you put him at the top 3, 5, whatever, excuse me, he is in everybody's pound for pound list. And when you are able to be in everybody's pound for pound list, it is a credit that the boxing world understands and knows your talent.
Right.
Okay? Now, Fulton is a good fighter, okay? But Fulton's name is not listed in the pound for pound. Not saying that means that he's gonna lose. No, it doesn't mean that. But what it does recognize is that throughout his career, he has not established himself as one of the premier outstanding fighters out there right now.
Yeah, that
he's not considered that.
Right, that people observe as such. It's not meaning that he's not. He might be top 10, but the fact that not. I'm glad you said it, because I wanted to say it, but I was like, no, I might be laying too thick on Naoya. But the fact that you said it, that makes it even better, because it's not that he's not top 10, because Fulton might be top 10, but the fact that he don't register in people's mind as such, like he on none of them lists that he don't come up on there. So you know, that's another thing too. You know what I'm saying? So it's not saying he's not, but if he beats Inoue, he'll definitely be on there. He'll definitely be on there for a hot second.
He should break in within the top 10.
Yeah, he'll break in.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you know his next opponent, because you know some people still have Loma on there, and then T.O. beat him, but that didn't put T.O. on there because he went on to fight somebody else and whatever happened. So sometimes it get funky, you know. But but Fulton has the ability.
And pound for pound, it can be biased based upon who is actually comprising this list.
Right.
That's why the list, you know, can differ from sanctioning body to sanctioning body. However, usually some of the same names are in that pound for pound. It's just the pecking order in which you think that these fighters should be in.
Exactly. Great point. But yeah, I mean, great point, man. I look forward to it, man. Hopefully them guys have good, hard training camps, and they both come fully prepared, man. And boxing fans are in for a treat, man. I'm glad that the PBC and Top Rank and all them guys, I'm glad that they were able to actually give us this fight, and the fighters wanted it and wanted to challenge each other. So we in for a treat.
Yes, indeed.
But
both of these fighters want that fight, and I praise Fulton because Fulton, he said that he was moving up in weight, but when he heard that Inoue wanted to move to 122, he say he immediately contacted them and say, "Well, come on, let's get this on." So I got to give him credit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got to give him credit because that was not part of his plan at that particular time. His plan was to move up to featherweight.
Yeah, so we salute him. You know what I'm saying? Now we just gotta, we gonna get some other things, and we'll talk about some other things. I heard some news today, but I'm gonna save that. I think we got enough on this. I've been wanting to have this conversation, but I'm kind of glad I waited. It's like things happen for a reason, because this news didn't come out, then we would have to do a whole nother one since this news popped out. But now we got something etched in stone. We just gotta pray that both fighters stay healthy, that they train hard, and there are no hiccups in between now and the due date. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause we got a baby coming. You know what I'm saying? We got a big baby coming.
Yes, sir. But and Fulton know that this will be his biggest payday, okay? Because I don't know in the States if Fulton is able to sell out a $20,000 seat crowd. Is his fans that loyal to him? I don't know. But I do know this. Traveling over to Japan is going to earn him his largest payday.
Oh, yeah.
I do know that.
Oh, yeah. And if they're about business, man, it's going to, however it go down, either one. I'm thinking if they're prudent business people, it's a rematch in this. So this is, you know what I'm saying? Because this is high stakes. It's not always necessary, but hey, I think this is, I'm thinking, man, at minimum we gonna be able to see this twice. You know what I'm saying? It's okay, you did that on this one, prove it on this one. Because both of them got a lot to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, reputation wise, but the fans win. You know what I'm saying? And if they both do what they supposed to do, shoot, can't nobody really hold their head, hang their head low or nothing. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna wait and see.
And whatever happened in the fight, if Fulton decides that I will fight you again, and we'll use the same venue, monetarily wise, I don't think that would be a bad decision, because once again, he know he's got a venue where he can get paid.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a win-win-win. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad he didn't duck the smoke, because some people would have ran like, oh no, he ain't ready, and made some excuse, but he's seeking the smoke just like But yeah, I'm gonna continue to send you some things, and
okay.
We'll have another conversation, maybe in a day or two about the other things that just came out. So I want to see some things materialize before we talk about that. But I just wanted to get this, I wanted to have this conversation because I know you the biggest Inoue fan that I know.
Yeah, because you know how they say talent, recognize talent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you something. When I first saw this guy's career, critiqued in front of my face, okay, and I watched him from the beginning up to his first championship. up and just kept moving and just kept fighting. I say this guy is tremendous because he shows no different from one weight class to the next weight class. There is nothing different in his fighting ability. And another thing about him, Inoue won his second championship, okay, by the time of fight number 8. So he moved along fast. So he was just a tremendous fighter from the start. It was just that as they put champions in front of him, he did the same thing to the champions that he was doing to those people that were put in front of him prior to him becoming a champion. So this guy shows no differential from fighting a journeyman to fighting a champion to moving up in weight class and fighting another champion. He just punished people the same way. And I'm gonna tell you something. I have not seen any dominant fighter like he has been, going from one weight class to another, and nothing has changed. Nothing. So I've been impressed with him from the beginning.
Yeah, I can vouch for that, man. I know you lit up, you exposed me to him, and it's just the perfect storm because Fulton seems to believe that he's been underestimated 4 times with 4 major opponents, and he has yet to fail the challenge. So it's just one of them ones where we gotta see it, man. We just gotta see it. But yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, for Fulton, this is his time to shine.
Yep.
This is it. This is his time to shine.
Yeah.
And I think him having to fight over in Japan through his own choice, if that don't keep him focused, then I don't know what will. Because he's putting it all on the line and he's traveling. He does not have any time to blink.
Right.
He's got to stay focused. So, I'm wishing him the best. It's just that he's going up against a different animal in this fight.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, this ain't an animal. This a monster.
Well, I know we're gonna have another convo before the fight, but yeah, we'll revisit it. You know what I'm saying? We'll revisit it. We in for a treat.
Yes, sir. And when it comes to, boxing, I am a fan of the sport. Okay? Now, there are some people that saying, oh man, you got to vote for the black guy because this, that, the other. That's not what boxing is about.
Right.
If you're a Mexican, if you black, if you Puerto Rican, it means absolutely nothing. What I look at is a fighter, and this fighter's ability to fight and command dominance in the ring. The race, I don't even see race when it comes to fight. I really don't. This is one of the reasons why when I looked at this guy's ability to fight, I went straight to you. I say, look, you got to look at this guy. This guy can fight. And you can forget about, him being Japanese or this, or you don't see him. And because, no. When you look at this guy, and if you are a fan of the sport, you're going to come away saying, wow, this guy can fight. But there's always going to be that but. But what are you going to do against American fighters?
Look, let me tell you something. One thing about body work, they don't care if them ribs are black, if them ribs are Puerto Rican, if them ribs are Caucasian, when you do that good body work, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it take its toll. So hey, I'm body work over here, so you know I don't play that shit. So that's nothing new to me, man. That body work, you know, I'm into that. And hey, Inoue do that body work, man. That's one of the things I look for. It's like how effective if you doing with the traditional, or you head hunting and all that other stuff. Cause that's part of the sweet science to me, man. When you go downstairs, man, and you come upstairs and you versatile, it's something that happens, man. And the most effective guys to the body typically win. You know what I'm saying? Like 9 times out of 10, if you look at the numbers, whoever did the more effective body work wins, man. So yeah, I don't see color a lot of times when it comes to boxing, man. I have my favorites and I have this and this and that, but hey, that body work is the end all be all for me.
There was one Puerto Rican champion that Inoue fought, and you know, because you're talking about body work. When he fought this guy, he punished that guy to the body, and when that guy went down and got to his knee, the referee looked at him. He looked at the referee. He shook his head, said, "No, no."
Yeah, that's Emmanuel. I think that's Emmanuel. I think that was Emmanuel.
Yeah, you look. It was no doubt in his mind, in your mind, what he was saying.
He was saying,
you know what I mean?
No more hot sauce.
Listen, it was no doubt he was saying, no, I don't want to fight no more. No. It wasn't a thing like if the referee said, "You want me to stop it?" And he was saying no because he don't know. You could see on his face, he was saying no because he didn't want no more. It was no misunderstanding. It was no misunderstanding what he was saying.
Right. I've had enough. You know what I'm saying? And then that man went out. That man went out and punished my man. He went out and punished my man Gary. My man Gary Antonio. After that, man, I had egg all on my face, but I accept it because that was my guy from the DMV. He's back to training again, but man, it's a difference, man, with Naoya, man. And it took me a while because I kept saying, man, why are they promoting them? Because I kept looking at it comprehensively, like how they promote. They promote a lot of other colors and stuff like that on that pound for pound, and we know that what that agenda was about. But to a certain extent, Naoya was getting lumped in that category, and I said, hold on, man, let me look at this guy. You know what I'm saying? Let me really pay attention to this guy, man, and hey, he the truth. So,
hey, as far as I'm concerned, he the truth. And on the pound for pound list, I don't know, maybe because he's my favorite fighter, I put him number 1. Am I putting him too high? I could possibly be, but he's given me everything that I want to see in a fighter. He's given me everything as far as his fighting ability, his punching power, upstairs, downstairs, left hand, right hand, and the fact that he's fighting everybody he can possibly fight along the way. So to me, that means a whole lot. He's giving me everything I want out of a fighter.
Hey, hey, I'm gonna put it like this: if he go out there and stop Fulton, hey, I mean, it'll be a hard argument not to at least have him like number 1 or number 2. Like it'll be it's an argument to be had if he go out there and stop this man. I'm not saying he will, but if he do, hey,
he's gonna be that on everybody's list.
He gonna be
just not on mine. He should be that on every boxing list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we could talk about. I know when it come to you, I know you can talk about Inoue forever, man. I know, and I'm excited about him. But yeah, we'll revisit and let some more things come out because I want to watch the training and stuff like that. Now I'm gonna have my eyes on what Fulton doing and what Inoue doing, and you know what I'm saying, just keeping a bird's eye view on what they're doing leading up to the big dance.
And another thing too, before we go, you know, I gotta keep reality in perspective too. Okay, I enjoy watching Inoue. I enjoy watching him move up. But let's be for real about one thing. If you keep moving up, eventually, one day, you might meet a fighter that's going to give you the most difficult fight that you possibly can have. And it may not be because that fighter is so much better than you. It's because you have been on a journey and been fighting wars. And these wars haven't been getting easier, they've been getting tougher and tougher. And then as you do that, you're getting older, and your body takes a toll from those battles. So when you finally lose to a fighter, to me, it does not diminish your entire career, because you've been on a battle, and you may at one point in a tough fight begin to show signs of battle fatigue. But it's not just because of that one fight, it's because you've been in wars. And because of that, one day you're not going to look as sharp as you once looked. And that's where a lot of fighters meet their demise, because they don't know when to stop. They keep on and always believe they're going to always be the fighter they were when they were at the top of the plateau. But you fight long enough, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and
it's happened through the greats.
Yeah, and the other thing is, Naoya could become overconfident because there is an element. There is an element. In high school when I played football, when you're playing at home, it's homecoming, everybody's there, those big bright lights are on, you got all that pressure of being able to entertain, and it's supposed to go down, it's supposed to go in your favor at home. But how many times have we seen right down there at the MGM Grand with Lamont Peterson, being down there against Lipinets when he got retired, when it's you at home. You got it just happened to Montana Love when he was at home in Ohio, and all the big bright lights was on, and everybody expected, this big old ordeal. So Naoya he's ordered in a special fighter in Fulton to come over there, where you would think he has all the advantages except for the fact that he's moving up in weight, but he's calling in a champion, a tried and true champion. So there is going to be a lot of pressure on Naoya, and he can be overconfident after all these wars, and after, he could be looking at the newspaper clippings as to what he did against Nonito Donaire and Paul Butler, and he could get high on his horse. So this is no easy feat, that element comes into this as well. That underdog element. Some people thrive in actually being an underdog. Some people don't win unless they're the underdog. And I think Fulton thrives as being an underdog. He it's something to say. It's like a level of disrespect. It's like a level of, oh man, they don't think I can do it, and that makes him push harder. That makes him figure out a different way, a different strategy. And so far, he's been able to do it every time when he's an underdog. So it's a whole nother element to this as well that people might not be considering in this. So this is just good for boxing, if you ask me.
Everything about what you just said, and everything that you said also about Inoue, all of these intangibles, when you put it all together, this makes for a great fight.
Yep. We in for a treat, but I'm not gonna hold you. I'm gonna let you get, I'm gonna let you enjoy your evening, man. I appreciate the conversation, man, and I'm sure we're gonna hear from from the people that chime in, because this conversation, this get a lot of feedback. I'm still getting feedback from 2-3 conversations ago about this fight. Today, or as late as today and yesterday, people still chiming in on this.
Well, I hope that they enjoy it, and what parts of it, they take, and it seems to be informative for them. I hope it is, because, as a fight fan, you got to hear it all. You may not agree with it all, but other people's perspective play an important part on, being a fight fan.
Right.
It's just like any other sport. You got one side rooting for this team, one rooting for that team. But you can't dismiss the other team just because you root for this team. You got to recognize that, when you see game has game. And anybody who, for whatever reason, only rocks with their side and totally dismiss any ability that the other side have, only because you got blinders on and you're just looking at the person you like,
right,
it's taken away from your ability to be a critical fight fan.
Right.
Because as a critical fight fan, you have to look at all. You have to see the total picture.
Exactly. You got to be objective. And I don't know if you noticed this, but my channel kind of changed. Like, what I've been doing on my channel, it's kind of changed. Like, I kind of stray away from talking about certain fighters because of the fan base, and like people just, they cannot be objective when they talk about these fighters. So I'm like, man, I'm a realist. Like, I don't care. I'm gonna look at it for what it is, and I'm gonna be honest about what I see. You could be my main man. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be really real about it. And so I've kind of changed trajectories and kind of changed like who I talk to and who I indulge. And I might touch on them, but I try to be objective. You know what I'm saying? I look at it like that. That's the best way to be, man, because at the end of the day, whether you make a prediction and you're wrong or not, at least you were objective and you didn't, discount anybody on their talents and abilities. So that's why I've kind of changed on the channel, as far as who I talk about. So you're right. But I'll hit you up. Maybe not tomorrow, but maybe, I'll give you a day or two. But I'm just gonna send some more articles and plug out some things, and then we'll touch bases. But I appreciate the conversation. It's
always
man.
A pleasure. Yep. Always a pleasure talking.
Thanks for doing that body work.
Yes, sir. All right.
All right.
Gotta keep it all for face value. We don't just do that. We put in that body work.
That's right. All right. Enjoy your evening.
Okay.
All right. Peace. We don't take things for face value. We do that body work.